Hello, let's see some examples of scripted component. I did two very simple. One is this digital to analog converter, like this. It has 8 bits and an analog output. The files to create these components are here. These are it's using the same method that microcontrollers, with some files that define the component and its behavior. This is the main file which describes the component. You see here that this is an IOU, which means input-output unit. There are MCU, microcontroller unit, or MPU, microprocessor units. And this one is a scripted one, and here there is the script, which is this file here. This is a JavaScript program, and it has the setup function, which takes a kind of instance of the input port and the output pin. This is the reset. The simulation starts. It just sets the ports on the pin, like input, output, state, whatever. And here we register for change in the input port. So every time the values of the input port change, this function is called. Here we read the input value, and here we set the voltage of the output pin, which is this value kind of converted to a voltage from 0 to 5 volts. Here I have a circuit, which is this one, and if we run it, we say all the inputs are low, so 0. If we change the input, we have the output, the analog value. And here we have the message we print here, and well, that's all. Very simple component, but you can do this kind of logic, or analog logic input, analog output, or whatever, with two files like this. It is quite simple. Then we have this one, the signal component. This is a little bit more complicated, but it's still very simple. It has an analog input and an analog output, a clock pin, and the files defining it are here. You can see that this is defined as an MCU, which is it's defined like a microcontroller. So it has, well, it's scripted, has a script, have program memory 1 kilobyte. The size of the program word is 1 byte, and we have a clock pin. And then we have a port, an I/O port, with 3 pins, clock, in and out. And then the script is this one here, similar to the other one. Setup function, we take instance of or reference for the pins. Reset, we set up the pin states and input, output, or whatever. We reset the variables and whatever. And then every time the clock ping changes state, this function is called. Then here, well, first we ignore the falling edge, and in the rising edge we read 2 bytes from program memory. The first byte will be the cycles. The second byte will be the amplitude, which is like a percentage. And finally, we read the voltage of the input pin, and we set the voltage of the output pin, which is that input, and we apply that amplitude value like a percentage. So we can like modulate the input with the data we have in program memory. So this is similar like a microcontroller. We have load firmware, monitor. Well, we have this CPU section. Here we could add information from inside the component, but here we are not using it. We just have the program memory here. So we can, well, already have a circuit, which is here. The flash memory is, the program memory is not updating very well. Okay. So here, for example, if we want to make a clock, or if we want to make nothing, we can say 1 with 0 we stop the sequence. So the sequence we have now is one cycle and 100% of the input. So it will do, the output will be like the input. For example, we could do kind of a clock, 1 cycle full, 1 cycle 0, and we close the sequence. And now here we have a clock signal, which is this defined here in program memory, and we read program memory and do whatever we want. And we can also load data to the program memory. For example, say load firmware. I have this one here, which is kind of, yes, here, yeah, it's kind of triangular. Here we have, and we have a triangular wave. You can create any kind of whatever you want, whatever signal, or for example, you can do something like this. I modulate, apply the signal to the input. Or whatever. Yeah, it's just an example of something you can do. Any kind of behavior you can program here in this JavaScript. What happens is, if I do this should be the carrier or something. Yeah, kind of. Now we have one is the carrier of the another, of the whatever. So this is two simple examples of how to create any kind, or at least some kind of component, programming it, but without recompiling SimulIDE. You just create a JavaScript and you can create many components. So that's all for now. Bye, see you.